Hello, good afternoon, y'all. It is Levita Davenport with Levadeh, the 501c3 organization in Detroit, Michigan, with a mission to help individuals and empower communities to experience abundance in our health, education, relationship, and ownership. And y'all, I just wanted to get with you real quick to give you insight and understanding on our focus for 2026. And that focus is to do a deep dive on ownership. Okay. I'm personally in a season where I'm choosing to move differently. Okay. I am moving slower, more intentionally. I am engaging more accountability for my own life. And that has led me to think about what it actually does take for an individual to change their life. I found it's not motivation that does it. It is not inspiration, the rah rah, sis boom bah. It's not even opportunities that present themselves to help us change. It's ownership. At Labor Day, we are defining ownership as taking responsibility for our own choices, our own lifestyle, our own community, and our shared future. Now, that doesn't mean that responsibility is this heavy thing. It means that we are empowering ourselves. We're moving in empowered ways. We want to move in a way that actually reminds us that we have more influence on the lives that we live than we've been using. And that's a big deal. This year, that's what we're building and cultivating at Labor Day. That sense of ownership, that sense of not control, but agency. We are recognizing that we have been given influence over our lives and that what we do with that influence, it really does make a difference. And so we're focusing in on four specific areas. The first, as I stated, is ownership of our choices. There's a principle that says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so, in other words, what we repeatedly say or agree with or rehearse, even in our minds, is going to shape the direction of our lives. We don't drift into better, all right? We don't just like, oh, I'm going to be, this is better now. No, life doesn't happen like that. We have to decide into better. We decide what it is that we are going to eat, what we're going to drink, what we'll listen to, how we respond to things, what we believe or tolerate, what we repeat. All of those are choices that are either building you the life that you want or they're reinforcing for us a life that we're trying to outgrow. Now, I've had to learn this personally. Okay, just a little bit about me. I don't know if you knew, but I've dealt with or hypertension really since I was 18 years old. 18. I tried different diets, medications, doctors, but I still was battling to the point where I ended up within 6 months in a hospital, staying in a hospital 6 different times. That was not the life that I wanted to live. And I realized that the doctors didn't have the answer for me, right? The people around me did not know how to help me to manage my stress and anxiety and my overwhelm. They really didn't know what was wrong with me, right? I ended up going and staying, and magically I'm better. So I had to begin a discovery for myself to find out what's going on, Levita, and what are we going to do about it. So I began new workout regimens, relaxation techniques, I had the benefit of a friend who came into my life at the exact time that I needed to learn how to do better self care for myself. And she modeled that for me and with me. I started addressing and removing the stressful things and the overwhelm that was going on in my life. And I changed the way that I approach my choices. I changed them in every area of my life almost. And so I'm grateful to say that I have a much stronger handle on my own health now. And that was a big deal to me. But it didn't change all in one day. And our choices don't change. The results of that change do not happen all in one day. However, knowing the choice that you are going to go back to, knowing the choice that you are going to make day by day, moment by moment, choice by choice, that will help you align and make sure that you're moving in the direction that you want to go in life for your own abundance. And so, this week in ownership, just think about some of your choices. For some of us, it may be monitoring our language, monitoring our self talk, choosing discipline over impulse. It might look like writing down a thought, a sentence of hope or love, or writing down that sentence of frustration and that new standard that you want to set for yourself. It might look like deciding that there are words that you will no longer use to identify yourself or other people. It might look like standing in the mirror and telling yourself out loud that you deserve a better life because that life is available to you. In ownership of lifestyle, there's a wisdom that reminds us that intention without action doesn't transform anything. We can want peace, we can want wealth, we can want health, we can want impact, but if our lifestyle doesn't agree with that desire, then we stay stuck. And it's not enough to say that we want better. Our habits, our choices have to align with what it is that we're wanting. So for me, I had to confront the fact that Levita would get 4 hours of sleep per night. That was not working. I had to acknowledge that the stress and the things that I was taking on for other people, that was not going to bring me that healthiness and that wellness that I was seeking. That was a turning point. Ownership of your own lifestyle might mean getting more uninterrupted sleep, or it might mean making a budget so that you know where your money is going. It might mean accessing therapy or even saying no. It might mean moving your body, even when you don't feel like it or even when you feel awkward. Ownership of your lifestyle is very important. The next focus that we're going to do is ownership of our community. We are not isolated individuals. The way that we show up affects our families, it affects our children, it affects our neighborhoods. And so there's a call to love your neighbor as yourself. And what that implies is that we value ourselves enough to extend that same value outward. There was a time that I wasn't fully aware of the presence that I was taking up or the space that I was taking up and how I was impacting others. And so I learned that I was always trying to make things right for people, not with them. For me, that was affecting how I led. It affected how I served. It affected how I showed up for those that I cared about. And while I thought that I was doing the right things, the way that I was engaging with the community and people who can actually make viable change, it wasn't working. And so ownership and community might look like mentoring somebody so that they can lead when it's time. It might look like civic engagement, voting or signing a ballot initiative, participating locally with what's going on in your representation. It might look like supporting businesses that align with your own values. Or it might look like picking up a piece of paper that was on the ground and throwing it in the trash, even if you didn't put it there. It might look like being consistent instead of just vocal about the things that you're wanting to change. And so, ownership of our community is incredibly important to change the life and the experience that we're having. The next is ownership of our shared future. We are entrusted with things like time, gifts, resources, and influence. And we're accountable for what we build with those gifts. We're not just surviving for ourselves, we are building something that is going to outlive us, whether you want to or not. I had to learn that building a future for me requires a team. I couldn't keep doing everything myself, burning myself out, and expecting the work to continue. That realization changed my long term thinking for life. I'll give you one more bonus. Even though those four are our focuses for the year, the fifth is living in alignment, is actually living abundantly. And if that word abundantly or abundance feels abstract, let me say it plainly. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about things. I'm not talking about wealth. I'm talking about the way that you are living. That way is not causing you to constantly shrink or constantly defend or fight or apologize for or complain about your existence. It's not about operating in survival or fear or scarcity. Abundance means living fully aware of your own inherent value and building your life accordingly. And when I say alignment with your values or your habits and your decisions, I'm not saying that that'll be easy. But I'll tell you, if you are saying one thing and you are living another, I know you're having a hard time with that. And so we want to get in alignment so that we can experience that abundance that is available to you. It is inherently yours. My promise and my commitment to ownership this year is that every Friday, we're going to be going deeper on how to unpack ownership in our own lives and how to apply it practically. We're going to give real steps, share real reflections, and help you to own your own life and to build it in a way that reflects who you already are capable of becoming. Because ownership is not about perfection, y'all. It's about participation. And we're stepping into all of this together. I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. Here at Levadeh, again, we are focused on helping individuals experience abundance in their health, education, relationships, and ownership. And this year, we're defining what owning it looks like. So enjoy the journey with me, y'all. You have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.